All right, we are back on our latest Bull session alongside Chad Conine and John Werner. I am Brice Cherry. Gentlemen, we were able to have lunch today. That was nice.
Well,
It's
Bryce,
good to see you
I
guys.
don't get out a whole lot. I'm out here in the sticks, kind of living the hillbilly life, and I appreciate y'all inviting me. That was a risk, me in a restaurant.
Well, I'm glad that you are venturing outside.
Thank you.
So Chad, we had some big coaching news earlier this week. Midway found its guy.
It's been a busy week. In fact, even today, there's a lot of sports news popping out there in the sports universe. But I started to get a strong suspicion on Sunday that Midway had, that Midway was going to hire Shane Anderson from Connally. And the question to me all along was, how difficult was it going to be for Shane to leave Connally, where he was a graduate, versus, the opportunity that he probably saw over there at Midway. And clearly he thought it was, a shot he wanted to take. And I think you'll agree, and John as well, at least from the standpoint of when we're trying to do our high school previews each week, Shane Anderson's a name you like to have on your list, because he'll answer the phone or he'll call you right back. He'll give you good stuff to work with, and kind of shoot you straight. Would you guys follow me on that point?
Yeah, he's definitely one of the coaches I enjoy working with the most at the high school level here. I remember last year during all the COVID stuff, he made sure me and Rod had passes out there. I mean, it's not like we just came up there and asked to get in. He made sure ahead of time. And even like when I went over to interview him at school, they had some pretty strict rules at the start. He said, okay, I'll get a pass for you. I mean, that to me, that's kind of taking the extra step.
We certainly love coaches who are accessible, who will work with us as we try to, publicize their programs and their players. And Shane does a great job of that. I think he's just a really solid all-around coach. I said on the radio earlier this week that it's weird, but I think you could classify Shane as both a Connally guy and a Midway guy. I mean, he's a Connally guy in that, he went to school at Connally. Apparently, even his parents were Connally grads, and did a good job of building, his alma mater up, especially these last couple of seasons. They've really, I think, ascended, to a level where they're up there in the top 10 in the state, in 4A. But as far as him being a Midway guy, I mean, he worked for both Kent Bechtel and Terry Gamble, two very successful football coaches at Midway. I think he's going to do a good job. Full disclosure, I have a son in the Midway football program. He'll probably be JV this fall. We'll see. He's a junior. But I'm excited for Cooper to get the chance to, be coached by Shane. I think it's a good hire. And Chad, you referenced, other news kind of circulating. The latest, obviously, there being Shane adding another former Central Texas coach to his staff in Tommy Allison. That's a pretty good hire.
Yeah, and I'd just like to point out, I have a couple of points to make. One, I wanted to point out that, all the Twitter investigative reporters out there, they had the news, they put the news out there, all the Twitter reporters, but we were able to go
the twits deeper on that. Can we just call them the twits?
Yeah, that's fine. But we were able to go a little bit deeper and also found out Lenoy Jones has been promoted to defensive coordinator over there, along with co-defensive coordinator that Coach Anderson's bringing over, that was on his staff at Connally. Yeah, Ezra Martinez is the coach. No, my other point though is that in the movie Ocean's 13, when they're talking about the betrayal that happens in the movie, they're all baffled because this guy shook Sinatra's hand, you know?
Right.
That was the thing. You shook Sinatra's hand, right?
Right.
Well, at Midway, the old school reference is, hey, you coached with Kent Bechtel.
Yeah.
You know?
That's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yep,
So
yep.
yeah, you can't screw it up if you're one of Bechtel's guys. I mean, you're Midway.
Did
Right.
they ever call Kent chairman of the board?
That's what I usually called him.
Okay.
God bless Kent Bechtel. We loved him. So, Chad, I want to ask you this as John is going to take some call-in viewers.
Sorry about that.
It's a very interesting time in local Central Texas high school football. We've got our 3 biggest high schools all breaking in new coaches this year in Midway, Waco High, and University. Do you make anything of that? Is that coincidental, or is there maybe more turnover than ever these days?
I think it's a lot coincidence. Particularly with the university situation, Rodney Smith moving over from being university's head coach to moving into the athletic administration as associate AD there. So I don't think that has anything to do with any factors. Now, you could say that playing Duncanville and DeSoto and Cedar Hill were pretty heavy on Midway and Waco High last season, although I think it would be kind of reactionary to make that case. I think even playing in that district, like Coach Anderson has said, he wants to go in there and show that they can be tough and compete. And I think that's the mindset that you have to have. And so I think you moved on for different reasons. I think maybe being in that district kind of exposed maybe some things within the program, but just the fact that the program needs to be, I don't know, on more consistent ground maybe. And then with Waco High, Kwame was having a hard time getting up and flying. And so, again, when you get in really tough games and tough situations, like they were in playing the best of the best in 6A, things are going to get kind of raw in a hurry, I guess is maybe the fair way to say it.
I tend to agree with you that I feel like it is mostly coincidental. I have to go back and look. I haven't done my research on this. I actually want to explore this a little further. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future podcast or something. But there may have been a season that first year that Terry Gamble arrived where the 3 of those schools were breaking in new coaches. That may have been the year that Matt Carroll started at University and Waco High. Yeah, or Herbst or the coach that preceded Herbst. I don't remember. There could have been another year like this. I have to go back and look. But
I know my timeline is that my first go around at the Trib ended the same year Bechtel's time at Midway did, which was 2009 football season. Gotcha. So Midway would have had a new coach in 2010, which I think Herbst might have been another year later. But.
Well, anyway, I do feel like that while it may be coincidental that those 3 schools are breaking in new coaches, there's always a lot of turnover in the coaching business. I mean, that is true any year. But I feel like what we are seeing maybe more often is some late moves in the process. Usually January, February is kind of the hot time for high school coaches moving on. The season's over and then they start looking at other positions. It's rare and weird to be hiring a coach in June because, the season is literally right around the corner.
Yeah, and it's the domino effect, though. Once one happens, you're going to have a bunch happen. And
right.
we've had
and
it
now,
here locally.
And now Connally is open, right?
Right.